Hey, good morning. This morning is February 15th. It's the day after Valentine's Day. We are going to jump into simply Matthew chapter 9. Our last videos are a big blessing. Now I think it's time to start turning up the heat a little bit. In these chapters is where Jesus starts talking a lot more, starts seeing more of Jesus' heart. And I think this is going to put a lot more on people that are watching this for action in our life. And this is going to, for me, this is a little more exciting. I guess I'm even out here with my sleeves rolled up because it's go time. So let's just jump in and see what the word says. Okay? So here in Matthew chapter 9, it just jumps right in and says, the Son of Man forgives and heals. Some great things are coming out of this. So let's see here. Got on a boat, crossed over and came to his own town. Has a paralytic lying there on a stretcher. There's a lot of times people, when they got sick back in the day, you just got what you got. There's really not much that you can do about it. Jesus came up here and he said, he saw the guy's faith. Jesus told the guy, have courage, son, your sins are forgiven. Now you got some people watching this, and you got the scribes, Pharisees, all these people that are supposed to know all sorts of, biblical stuff, things about God. He's sitting there like, oh, he's blaspheming, which means like he's trying to put himself in the place of God, and how in the world can he forgive when God's the only one that can forgive? And they got all this hate, right? But Jesus, knowing what's going on inside of them, he simply asks them, he confronts them. He says, why are you thinking evil things in your hearts? For which is easier to say, your sins are forgiven, or get up and walk? But you may know that the Son of Man has authority on earth to forgive sins. Now notice that. A lot of times when people give you options, either they give you a positive and a negative, or they give you two negatives, but very rarely do people say, okay, I'm going to give you two positive ones, which one would you rather have? To have your sins forgiven, or to prove that you have your sins forgiven? A paralytic getting up and walking and taking his bed? Seriously? But he does that. And he says, get up and pick up your stretcher and go home. That's what he says to the guy. He doesn't do it in jest. He doesn't even do it, I guess, to show up other people, but he does it for that one guy that had faith in him. And then the guy gets up and takes up his bed and walks. That's really cool. And when he does that, the crowd see it, fine. But that one guy that had faith actually did it. And then that's really cool, and to me, because it shows the different levels of what God does in our lives if we choose to believe in him. Either he can just forgive us and then we can just still be, but we can understand more, or we can have action in our own lives and we can get to see the results. There's no other truth than that. And I personally have things in my life that I could have just chose just to, not believe, or believe and just stay, or to believe and have action in my life to have positive results. Cool thing here in Matthew chapter 9, the call of Matthew. We're in Matthew right now. Jesus is walking along. He doesn't have this big story. He just says, follow me. Matthew just follows him. And look at what he says to him. After this. Matthew was a tax collector. Those guys were some mean people, not people average people hung out with. And the Pharisees, once again, these people that are supposed to know about God, they ask him, why in the world do you sit around with sinners and tax collectors? And Jesus flat out told him, said, those who are well don't need a doctor, but those who are sick do. Go and learn what this means. I desire mercy and not sacrifice. For I didn't come to call the righteous but sinners. Jesus didn't come around to build this little perfect club of people that do all the perfect things and do it for all the wrong reasons. Jesus called all the people that are all jacked up. I'm part of that group. We're all jacked up for a reason. But we choose to have faith in Jesus, have faith in God, to help us through things, and to be doing things with our heart. Because when you do things with your heart, it's way better than if you do things out of priority, sacrifice and going, oh, you know, it seems like it's labor. When you do things from the heart, it's not even work. It's like if you love your job, you never work a day in your life. Well, if you love Jesus, you love God, you never labor doing things. I know I do this in the morning, and there's no labor about it because there's specific reasons why I'm doing it. I'm doing this out of love. Love for God and love for the people that this possibly affects, myself, my family, my earth family, and my church family. So that's good. And they go on and on about other things, you know, a girl restored and a woman healed and healing the blind and driving out demons, and that's more healing. We can go into each one of those, but just look at every one of those cases where the person believed in Jesus, believed in God, and then Jesus healed them. But you have to believe in Him first for Him to do these miraculous things in your life. That's how things work, you know. Then, at the end of this chapter, and this is one of the reasons for real why I even do this, Jesus went to the towns and the villages, teaching in all the synagogues and preaching the good news of the kingdom, healing the crowds. He felt compassion on them because they were weary and worn out, like sheep without a shepherd. Then he said to his disciples, "The harvest is abundant, but the workers are few. Therefore pray to the Lord of the harvest to send out workers into His harvest." That's big picture, guys. That's at the end of chapter 9, but that's big picture. If what I'm saying out of this Bible is true, step one is just getting over your personal whatever to believe in God. Simple as that. Then to start really praying on stuff and really believing that miraculous things can happen in your life. And then moving towards that by getting closer to Jesus, getting closer to God, and then seeing those miraculous things happen in your life. And then the reality of that, you tell other people. You tell them your story and how you've overcome things with God's help, God leading. And then you help other people do the same thing because you care for the right reasons. Not because you think that you're better than them, because you forget your story and then now you got to help them because they're weak. Because you got to remember, at some point you are very weak just like everybody else, and you will continue to be weak for the right reasons to help other people in this world, so we can all have miraculous things happen in our life and we can work together and truly be a family of God. And then we can see each other up in the sky. It'll be beautiful. That's what I'm trying to say. It'll be beautiful. What's the other choice? We sit around and we make this out to be something that it's not, and we just look at the words and we just try to follow a bunch of rules and our heart's not in it, and it just stinks. I would rather have my heart in it. I'd rather build a loving family. I'd rather be loved like this, and you know, God will show you what love is. Love is forgiveness of sins, and love is just moving forward. Thanks for listening, and this was Matthew chapter 9, and let's just keep on moving with this. But like I said before, I think this is time to turn up the heat. Jesus doesn't care about people that are trying to proceduralize life. He cares about those that want to live it with Him in front. Thanks, have a great day.